all good to go. To everybody on the radio, driving about town, handling spring break start of it, right? All that good stuff. Hopefully you ushered your kids out the house, told them to get on with the getting. Go. Leave us be.
Come on, get.
That was a good commercial. They should bring it back every time because it makes you think of mac and cheese. It was delicious. The Velveeta. Anyhow, that said, hopefully you get a little bit of a break, whatever it might be. It'd be nice. So I was not surprised to hear of what I missed. So you guys, I left town on Friday to go down and visit family and to check out the Lightning. I saw the Pirates play spring training, saw my grandmother, saw my mom and my stepdad and my kids, more importantly, got to do that as well. So that was great. It was all good. But I missed some things. I missed a very big weekend, and I hate that, but I'm going to be open and honest about it. Now, I've since gone back and, I've picked your brain. I've talked to a lot of people, and certainly I read all the reports on Warchant.com, and I've had a chance to see every practice up until that one. I had a suspicion that some of the guys that were highlighted in the write-ups afterwards would be exactly that. They'd be the ones. And Tom, you right off the bat, I went to your report because I'm like you. I care most about the offensive and defensive lines. I know we have skill position players that are going to be really good. I already feel like I know that receiver room. I know that running back room. I got a handle on the principal players in the defensive backfield. That's going to be a protracted competition. One practice in pads isn't going to change anything. So, but I wanted more than anything else, I wanted to feel what that was in the trenches in between the tackles or even really across the entirety of the defensive line and offensive line. Because I've said since the day we laid eyes on him, when we actually saw him in person, that I thought that the guy that would make the biggest impact, just because he surprised me with his presence, I think you used the word presence in your write-up, was Darrell Jackson. And we've talked about it on the air. I said, man, nobody looks like him. Not Fabian Lovett, not anybody. Nobody looks like that guy. That looks like an NFL interior lineman, just a badass, just a massive and fluid and strong and good feet and stays low and all that stuff when you watch him. And then I kind of had a suspicion before that practice that we were going to be right on that, not just because of the visual. The visual, jumps out at you. But because there were comments that coaches made, including the head coach. And you had Mike Norvell referencing Fabian Lovett before they ever suited up the pads, talking about what he was. He's a big man and all those things that he said. So to find out he was the guy that, what it sounds like, caused the most amount of problems for the offensive line once they donned the pads and was one of the first guys that really stood out. Not that there weren't others, but that he really stood out in one-on-one situations, group situations, is not a surprise. But why don't you, for people who didn't get a chance to read it on warchant.com, kind of talk about what was it beyond just the sheer physical presence of Darrell Jackson? Because now, more and more, I guess what I'm getting at, more and more when I talk about comparing and contrasting what Florida State is and where they want to go, we get deep into the weeds. We start talking about, do you have a depth of elite level first or second round draft pick, offense and defensive line type players, the way that a Georgia does who wins a national championship, the way that an Alabama does when they win the national championship, the way we did in 2013 when we won the national championship. Invariably, the teams that do have a depth of size and talent that are difference makers up front. And Darrell Jackson looks like that guy.
Yeah, there's nothing fancy about it either. It's just brute strength that fits the profile of his body. There's sometimes that you have guys that look the part and they look like the guy that you want to lead the way off the bus, off the sideline, and then when they play, it doesn't translate. We've had a couple of guys I remember in camps past where the first day of photos, they roll out and you're like, that's our guy. And then the player just never translated. But Darrell Jackson plays as large as he looks, and that's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of one-on-one reps where it's almost cold-blooded. He just moves the offensive lineman backwards towards the quarterback, and it's a graduate assistant in these drills, step by step, and there's nothing that they can do about it. You feel the helplessness that the offensive lineman must feel in that moment, and it's not like we are short on good offensive linemen now. That's the other thing. So when you see Darrell Jackson taking over either in a period or across a couple of drills, he's doing so against the best competition this offensive line has produced for Florida State's defensive line in forever, for years. So anything I see in short when we do trench observations for warchant.com or Warchant TV, to me, it's I can bank what I'm seeing is real and is going to translate in a way that I couldn't before.
Mm-hmm.
When they were doing heads-up one-on-one drills last year or the year before, I mean, even this past fall, they would hold Dylan Gibbons out. They would hold Fabian Lovett out, even when he wasn't injured. He might go around one time, but he wouldn't go a second or a third time because they know what they've got. They know this is a stud, and they know that if we lost him on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, what a waste. Let's make sure we get him out there on Saturday when these things really count. When you're watching these drills now, these combination drills, the run game drills, the one-on-one drills, the full 11 on 11, there is no holding back. And all of the reps mean something. It's just, it was ratcheted up. And the best thing I could say about it is we've been talking about it for weeks. You can tell that the players wanted it more than we hyped it up. The coaching staff wanted to see it more than we hyped it up. Before the first period and the first rep of full contact head on head for offensive and defensive line, Mike Norvell is bobbing his shoulders and his head back and forth, cupping his hands over his mouth and screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
Everybody was jazzed for this, and it was from that point on to the end of practice about 65 to 90 minutes, give or take, and it was just awesome throughout. Darrell Jackson was the most consistent guy, but he wasn't the only one who stood out. And anytime you see an 11-on-11 play now with the ones or the twos or the guys that they're cross-training in there, there are multiple dudes that you point out and say, that was a good play. That was a good play. Instead of just one guy making a play and the rest of them looking like they're not up to standard. It's a joy to watch.
Well, you're going to end up doing this. You're going to talk about Jeremiah Byers and Julian Armella, and you're going to talk about Lucas Simmons as the new guys. You're going to talk about when we get the defensive line. You're going to talk about Josh Farmer. I know you did bring him up as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about Jared Verse every week. We're going to talk about back to the offensive line, Bless Harris. There's going to be so many guys, because that's the most loaded group on the team. We talk about what Fabian Lovett is and all of that. I mean, you've got a lot of guys. It is, it's exciting to see all of this.
I could tell you one dude that didn't make the write-up was Casey Roddick, but he's impressive too. There's honestly, unless you want to go on and make it a long form piece like in The Athletic or something, you have to choose. You have to pare down what you see to the most important nuggets. Before, you felt like you were stretching every letter to see how wide it could go in the digital column space, because you had to search so hard. Now it's like, well, I've got 3 pages of notes. I said it to Corey walking out. I'm like, I got too many notes here. And he said, me too. It's just different. This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we'll get used to it.
We'll
get used to it. And you start adjusting within that grouping too. You start realizing that, okay, it's great. But now you're talking about comparing and contrasting the talent level of that and a championship team. And so that's what people are going to want to know. By the way, any update on Darrell Jackson's eligibility?
Not at this time, no.
They're sure practicing him like they know it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, again, this is a different situation than Dimitri Emmanuel. So Emmanuel's out there, but he's not allowed to participate because that's a question of eligibility, period. Like, can you still play college football? And then with Darrell, it's a hardship waiver. They know that he's going to play for Florida State. It's just, can he do so this year? But I think they expect that they're going to get a yes on that. It's just that if you ever try to put a timeline on when the NCAA is going to make a ruling, then you would lose a lot of money if you would put money down on it.
This will be a big one, though. I can understand the hyper-focus and frustration and worry because the NCAA is wildly unpredictable. They've already screwed us. We just saw it with basketball, and that was an absurd ruling. And then you have this.
I think Jordan Travis' hardship waiver took forever, too, from Louisville.
Yeah. This is important. Darrell Jackson could end up being your best defensive player. It would be pretty cool if you knew that he could definitely play. People are just going to want to know. I'm going to want to know that every day, too. Clearly, they think he's going to play. But I don't trust the NCAA. It's a better way of saying it.
Well, and you mix that in with Braden Fisk and Lovett. And what Farmer looks like, mentioned it at the tour of duty. Up top, he looks like he's stronger. He played that way. He played that way on Friday. I stress to everybody, as pumped up as we get to be able to watch this and how much more entertaining it is, they're going to cross-train guys in the first team, the second team. We're not allowed to say what, line on the depth chart everybody is. But even if you try and guess, it's not worth it just yet, especially on that offensive line.
Not at all.
They're working out different combinations. Coach Norvell said on Friday after practice that Jeremiah Byers is going to cross-train at guard and tackle, for example. Don't know where he's going to land, but that means he takes part in more drills against more dudes, so we get to see a much better assessment as media members of what exactly he does, and that was a very impressive player on Friday as well. He had some rough moments. I think he's realizing, these guys coming at me aren't UTEP quality. They're a little higher quality, but it's not for a lack of raw skill and in some ways professionalized, refined skill too. It's just this is a fact-finding process that we've been waiting for so long to see, and we never got to see it even at the peak of Jimbo's time because practice was closed in those days. I can only imagine what those days look like day to day.
Yeah. Elsewhere, and I'll come back to football, a lot of it today. It's our only show of the week. We are off for spring break like everybody else. There are no practices for Florida State this week. The FSU men's basketball team was summarily dismissed. They're no longer playing basketball, so we don't cover them either. The baseball team took the weekend series against Pitt. It was good to see. I think the thing that stands out to me, looking at those numbers, I was able to pull up some of the action there, is that Florida State obviously got good starting pitching through the first two games. That's huge. We had question marks about pitching heading into the weekend series. Really, we always try to include the midweek game along with the weekend game so that you take the whole of what you got for that week. So in 4 games, Florida State got good pitching. They really did. So that's important. Wyatt Crowell getting his first start was flawless, looked really good. It's just what it does by adding him into the rotation is that you do have, questionable numbers, at least in terms of those you trust out of the bullpen. But your starting pitcher was better. And if you get good starting pitching in each of those games in a weekend series, you kind of trust the offense to do enough. I think more than enough most days to get you a series win. And after all, that's what it's about. I hate that, you had a rain-shortened loss yesterday, 8-6. But for Florida State, if you win your series, you're going to be right where you need to be. And I think they'll only get better as the year goes on. So good news, they're on pace. They're on pace.
I think they're cultivating more answers in the pitching staff that they can trust, in a high leverage situation. In the first week or two of the season, it felt like they've got a lot of long guys that if there's a blowout, they can throw it one way or the other. Like if you're getting blown out or you're up by 8 runs, hey, he's suited for that role and not much more. They're starting to get more setup men, more answers in the pen. That's what this week as a whole taught me. But again, this is just the beginning of ACC play. When you get towards the end of this month, starts on the 21st of March when they host Florida on a Tuesday night. That's when the schedule takes a big-time turn into top 25 land. FSU, I saw, was number 21 still in the D1 baseball top 25 this morning, but we're going to be seeing a lot of numbers next to the opponents that we play. Also, by the by, Gulf Coast is now 20th in the country in D1 baseball, and they're next to each other, Florida State and Gulf Coast, in the Boyd's World RPI, 17 and 16.
Yeah, Dong City can play a little bit, so we're gonna we'll watch that all year long. That was not a fluke. No, they can play a little bit. How was the Buster? I mean, I just love that they honored him. I know he said it was quite the honor. I saw it. I pulled it up, but it was neat to see that. I saw where I watched Jameis do an interview as well. Yep. Which was nice.
Jameis was also there for the induction.
Yeah, saw the first pitch. You're going to bounce the first pitch, Jameis.
That was a little rough. Jameis might have gotten iced because first pitch was pushed back by an hour and a half. I'm going to go with that.
I'm going to go with keep playing football right now. I don't think the slider's ready. I don't think it's ready. I don't think it's ready.
I was there for a lot of Friday's proceedings. It was supposed to be, I think, a 5:45 Jameis first pitch, and it was a little after 7 by the time he actually delivered it.
Yeah. Due
to the bad weather that you mentioned when we had signed off, that it was starting to get a little nasty, and it was. But Saturday's particulars we covered very well as a staff. I was not there, but just watching the Buster Posey videos, it looked like he felt it. Sometimes these things are put on, and you feel like the person shows up out of courtesy, not out of connection. And this felt like it connected. It landed a little bit more, which was cool to see.
Buster is as modest as they come for as big a superstar as he was here and with the San Francisco Giants. So that's neat to see. You also don't always see that. I'll answer some of these questions. Folks are, already panicking to some degree and all of that stuff, but there'll be, I think we're in good shape here for the roster for Florida State football. Even for guys that haven't been out there yet, they will be. Everything's going to be all right, guys. Everybody settle down. There's no reason to assume anything else. There's nothing laying in the weeds that we're not telling you about or hiding from you or anything like that. Some guys dealt with some injuries. Some guys dealt with a disciplinary issue. Could be minor, we think. We don't know. I mean, and when I say disciplinary issue, I'm talking about a guy misses, 2 or 3 practices or something like that. Coach is never going to tell you that. Never going to tell you that. But if a guy is out for a couple of days and he doesn't have class, you might assume that's what it was. Just somebody got slapped on the wrist for showing up late to a meeting. I don't know. It could be something as simple as that. Don't know these things. What I'm telling you is there are a variety of guys that get asked about on the regular, and I keep repeating myself on this because it's what people do now in this day and age of immediacy. If a guy is not mentioned in notes, Tom, specifically, they assume he's either transferring, hurt, or in big trouble. And none of those things could be true. It could be he's in minor trouble, or he's got a nagging calf that's going to cost him 2 days of practice and he'll be fine. Or it's that he had class, or it's that whatever. Don't assume the extremes about anybody. I do get that on a loaded roster, if somebody's not playing and you think they should be, you're assuming they're going to leave. And maybe they will, but we don't know that. And I don't just assume because he's not in a practice note that the guy's leaving. That's all I'm saying. Just so you know.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I'm not certain.
I'm putting down that everything's fine at practice and the players you want to see play and the players that you're hoping contribute this year are all on pace to do exactly that.
Oh, I picked it up now.
Okay.
That's a lot lighter.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiesdelivery.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. We take pride in supporting local, and with foodiesdelivery.com, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiesdelivery.com.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at taogov.com.
This is Patty Wilson.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're ready.
He's recording.
Why are you always saying your last name? It's Patty and Scott. Everybody knows who Patty and Scott.
I don't know. This is Patty Wilson. Not this is. I am Patty Wilson.
What is the idea behind said promo?
It's for Patty's Playhouse. We're on Patty's Playhouse Saturdays at 11. Tune in. That's stupid. Just tune in. Saturdays at 11. Patty Wilson, Patty's Playhouse. House talk with a happy ending.
Each and every time.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Must have heard your Wake Forest rant because they took out some football feelings on the Deeks Friday. It was glorious. Awesome. Hey, I crossed the threshold of emotional maturity and a sign of real growth as a man, a human being, a husband, a father. Just a wonderful, wonderful moment for me as a human, Tom. Today, I ended up parked on the interstate for an hour and a half in Ocala. Didn't raise my voice. In an hour and a half. Hour and a half. Did not raise my voice once. I muttered. I can't say I was perfect. I muttered. There were a couple of elongated sighs. I wanted the universe to know that I was disappointed. So there were a couple of, that's it. Think about it. You know me. We're friends. We can't go through a round of golf together without me commenting on the slow nature of play from these blanks in front of us.
Or shouting at a shot and scaring people at an adjacent green or tee box.
Oh, they got to buck up. But I'm saying, the occasional F-bomb on a wayward, on a pole or something. I mean, that's not going to go away.
As that 6-footer over yonder, pushed wide.
They should re-putt it. They're not playing the U.S. Open. Tell your guys, settle down. You heard that a-hole on the other tee box scream at his ball. I'm going to put that again. So I'm just saying, not one, just a, that's all you got.
I got to tell you, that's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think about old radio station owner Chris when you channeled your inner Zen? Because that's what it would take. You have to channel. That guy never raised his voice for anything.
No, I'm going to admit something. Now,
get your popcorn here.
Here you go. I'm going to admit something. Now, I don't necessarily mean it, but I think it. And then I think badly of myself for thinking it, but it's layered. And then I always come back around and I'm happy that I don't mean it, but it did cross my mind.
Let's go to solo cam, Matthew.
So, when you're traversing down the highways and byways, state of Florida, and you purposely got up nice and early in the morning to make sure we got out the door so that we were going to get back in town in time to be thoroughly prepared for a radio program that you take very seriously for the listeners and for yourself professionally. So I say last night, it's a Sunday evening. We had this great dinner with my mom and my stepdad. We sat at the big table. It was a real Sunday dinner. It was a lovely evening. Afterwards, we played cards as a family. And my two boys were in heaven playing with their grandparents, we had a wonderful time. I told everybody, got to go to bed early tonight, guys. I'm sorry. We got to get out the door at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not dealing with Tampa traffic. I'm not dealing with any of this nonsense. I'm telling you right now, we're bypassing this baby. We are rolling.
I'm sure you said baby. That's exactly what you said.
So I said, this is what we're doing. We're getting on down the road. And they all understood. There was an air of seriousness to my voice. Dad's serious. He wants to get out the door. Like, so go to sleep. Have your stuff ready. Pack it up tonight. There's no reason to be running about in the morning when we're all tired as hell. Have it ready to go, and I will load it up into the car while you brush your teeth because I'm up before everybody. So I got up, I showered, did my thing, got up, and I was so proud of them. Bag for bag, everybody, my wife, both boys, bags were waiting next to where they were sleeping. All I had to do was walk in, shake the shoulder, time to get up, good job with the bag. And then I walked to the car. Those were the exact words. That's about as good as you're going to get from Dad Cameron in the morning.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I grabbed the bag. Good job with the bag. Time to get up. I walked out, put the bag in the car, pitch black outside, doing all the right things. So we get moving. Everybody's loaded up. Get the coffee. 2 big-ass cups of coffee for the wife and I, and whoof, there we go. We're flying past Tampa. Go to hell, Tampa, and I-4 exit. Yeah. Screw you. Too early in the morning to slow me down. Phew.
Hi there, Hard Rock. Maybe someday.
Someday.
Not this morning.
Road out. Now, cruising. We're making great time, which is every man's dream, is to make great time. It's all you really care about. There aren't too many things in life. Can you make great time? I'm making great time. We're ahead of schedule. Happy man.
I think it's worth about 2 to 4 strokes on a Sunday morning or Saturday morning tee time if you can make great time around the track.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Like, you could shoot 5 higher, but if you get done in 3.5, you feel pretty good about that 5 strokes.
You're like, yeah, how about that? I got the rest of my day.
It's a 91, but we made great time.
We made great time.
We were flying.
We weren't out here for 5.5 hours. So there you go, making great time, rolling on Big River, and then Ocala, which can go to hell eternally. Always. I don't know what's going on in Ocala.
It's the McDonough of Florida.
It's become the McDonough of Florida. And I get it. Great. Horses. Whatever. There's not a damn thing else in Ocala. What's everybody doing in Ocala that the gawking happens that leads to the accident? Now, here's where I am going to admit to feeling bad. If you come to a complete standstill on the interstate, which should never happen, do you not think to yourself, this better be a 57-car pileup? When I get up there, I better see bodies and cars strewn for days. I better see the most godforsaken accident I've ever seen if I'm going to have to sit here for an hour and a half. Ambulances, people running around holding their head like they've never seen anything worse. That's in my head. I temporarily, fleetingly think this better be the worst accident of all time. This better be. I have had to earn this hour and a half of not moving. Because it never is. It never is. It's just like, oh, we just picked a weird time to do construction. Well, you can die. That is crazy to me. What do you mean? At 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, you just decided you needed to fix the bridge. What are you doing? So there was no accident that I could see anywhere. And I don't want anybody to get hurt. But damn it, man.
No, you want them to be dead.
I couldn't believe it. I thought, okay, well, where is this? Where is this deadly accident? Where is it? I'm searching for somebody lying in the trees. Nothing. And I just want you to know, just even all of that, right? All of that didn't matter. I exhaled, didn't scream, didn't yell. All my time, all that great time, gone right out the window. What would have been a record-breaking time back to Tallahassee is now sure to be one of the worst of all time. We're limping across the finish line as we get into town.
I once saw a Lincoln Town Car that was all white in a tree next to the overpass above Dale Mabry, driving on 275 into Tampa.
Well,
it was eye level in the, because, it's probably a 15-foot drop down to the houses below. In a tree. Just headlights first. Somehow. I think if you saw that, you would have been okay.
I would have. I'd been like, well,
if there was a
flew into a tree.
Flew into a tree.
Yeah, quite the conundrum. Somebody was going so fast, they flipped into a tree. But I just thought you should know that we made progress. Not one, I didn't even raise my voice. Just kind of like, all right, well.
It's because you knew that you had a widely popular radio program that you could share your frustrations with later in the day. So we're going to invest now in stoicism, and then we'll pay the rage later around, say 1:30 in the afternoon.
I actually thought, okay, well, this is why you leave early, Jeff. Good job. Good planning. You give yourself a wide berth here. You gave yourself a wide berth for things like this, for an hour and a half of not moving.
Wide berth is the road trip equivalent of hunker down during hurricane season.
Yeah.
It is the used term.
Yeah.
Once you're about 38 years of age and older, you must use these terms. Wide berth for time range and hunker down for stay safe.
So they were all, I think the family was impressed. I see my mom has commented on it. I think the family was impressed. Everybody was all good.
He made it home safely, Janie, in case you forgot to call.
I already told her. I called her. She called assuming I was already home. I said, I'm not home. I'm not close to home. But thanks for checking.
You handled it well with me. I called you 11:30 just to see.
Yeah.
I said, look, is everything tracking on time? I was checking. In fact, it really isn't.
That's what I said. I said, yeah.
We'll be home in time, but in fact, it almost wasn't, Tom.
Yeah. And I gave you a brief synopsis of the hour and a half
with a Vulcan's level of stoicism. It was impressive.
I want it noted for the record. That's why I brought it up today. It is on the record. My kids, years after I'm gone, when they're telling my grandkids that I was an impatient man, they can go look this up and say, well, but he got better over time. He mellowed over time.
And you need to reference it shorthand this particular day. Ocala 23.
Yeah, check it out. Remember that horrific moment? Ocala 23. We came up over the hill, and I said, what's going on here?
Dad, that's been the exception to the rule for 30 years.
Much to my dismay, all of the brake lights were before me as I came over the hill and went, what's with all why are people stopping? There's no reason to stop. Probably 30 minutes after coming to a complete stop was the first time my head went, I hope there's 57 people smashed to bits up there when I get up there. And I know that's wrong. It's wrong. I know it's wrong. I'm just admitting that I have the thought. Very briefly. And I think you're just a terrible person to think that, but I do think it.
You got the maturity, though. Ocala 23.
We should get a shirt. Always remember.
On the front.
Ocala 23. And only people who listen to this show or are part of my family will know what this is. Ocala 23. Always remember. The Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio.
Your local news now.
The Leon County Sheriff's Office said Friday night its deputies responded to a single vehicle crash in the 4900 block of Crump Road in eastern Leon County. When LCSO deputies arrived, emergency crews had already removed an adult male driver from a vehicle and transported him to a local hospital. A 16-year-old female passenger was pronounced dead on the scene. The vehicle was traveling north on Crump Road when multiple trees in the area fell onto the vehicle and roadway. At the time of the incident, inclement weather with heavy winds was in the area. Through an investigation of the damage, it was determined that straight-line winds caused damage, not a tornado. Florida lawmakers are considering setting a later school start time for middle and high schoolers. Middle schools would start no earlier than 8 a.m. and high schools no earlier than 8:30 a.m. LCS Superintendent Rocky Hanna doesn't think the change would be possible here. The bill now awaits approval by the Pre-K through 12 Appropriations Subcommittee. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 71. Winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 43 tonight, partly cloudy. Mainly clear skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 64. Ample sunshine expected Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 67, 72 Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 59.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran and law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
It's practice but does involve news of the day and something worth noting, and that is that Micah Pittman has already had hip surgery and is out for the next 4 months? I think they announced 4 to 5 months.
I think a typical recovery time could be up to 6. Yeah, that's really significant when you're talking about the special teams game and the receiver rotation. I mean, I would go special teams first because it just felt so nice to have a punt returner that you didn't have to worry about him putting it on the deck. And so that would be a concern right out the gate for LSU if Micah Pittman's healing and recovery time is on the longer end of the estimation.
Which, yeah, one thing I will say about him is he proved himself to be an extremely hard worker. He's a tough kid. I actually look at the injury from that vantage point, Tom. I look at it, or the surgery from that vantage point. We don't know how long he's going to be out in terms of number of games. He could be back in time for the first game of the year. We don't know. If you project out that amount of time, he could be back by July and be ready to go by that first game. But who knows? He may not be back till week 3, week 4. Again, speculation. We do not know. Everybody's injury and surgery recovery time is different.
Is it strange that the first place my brain went when I read about this on warchant.com, as you can right now at warchant.com for more information, but who the hell is going to be our second blocking wide receiver? I don't know that we have candidates that are lined up to fill that part of the requirement for the roster. Like, there's going to be somebody like a Winston Ryder or a Darian Williamson who could take the catches and the yards. But yeah, I like how physical we play in the run game. And Johnny Wilson's one half of that, and Micah Pittman's the other half of that.
That's the toughness of which I speak. He's so tough. And there was a high level of sacrifice that Micah Pittman revealed a year ago, which may have been more impressive than anything he did on the field in terms of the accumulation of receptions or touchdowns or any of that. It was really more about a willingness for a kid who I think people wondered when he transferred from Oregon. The thought was maybe he was, speculation was that he was unhappy with the amount of touches that he was going to get or had gotten. And, he had been injured there. And so you just wondered. But one of the least selfish guys on the team, when you just compare and contrast what was expected of him and then what he did as a blocker for everybody else a lot of times, and his willingness to do that, to engage in that. And he's short in stature, but he's a thick, strong kid. He's very, very physical. He's tenacious. He's tough-minded. So you want him back for a lot of reasons, but you really want him back because of the toughness that he brings, and especially for a game like LSU or a game like Clemson on the road.
Yeah, in the interview I did with Ron Dugans at the luncheon a couple weeks ago, I asked about Johnny and Johnny's ability to set the standard of, if you're not going to bring it as a defensive back, he'll block you into the first row.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. And you know, he could have 2 targets before that moment or none or 12. He's still going to do that thing. And Coach Dugans was quick to kind of correct me and say, well, Micah was the first one to set the standard in the receiver room that this is how we play. And that's got to be a part of the conversation moving forward. You do have a ton of tight end bodies that you can rotate out there if you want to, but that lets you know what's coming if you're a defense. If a Marquiston is out there on the perimeter, or a Morlock is out there, or Jaheim Bell, you could kind of be clued in that maybe there's something happening in the way of a bubble game. With Micah out there, his size suggests it's going to be a throw, not a run, and yet, here we go, little flare or a little run to the outside, and he's got you locked up. So it's just, when you are a championship roster, these details matter. Like every little bit of it. You've got a variety of receiver targets, but who the hell is going to set the physical tone on the other side? And I look forward to watching camp now for a different reason. I thought we were just going to watch the receiver room to see who commands the targets, but now it's who fills the role.
There are a lot of guys, though, to fill the role that were on the team a year ago that you're expected to either make a jump or we're in the process of making real progress to getting more playing time. Talking about a Portier or Williamson or people like that you've referenced. These are all guys that are going to play more anyhow, and they were part of that receiver room, and that receiving core really was something that we all doffed our cap to because of their willingness to block. All of them blocked. Now, Micah stood out because he's so physical and so tough, but really the tone has been set. I think that the culture, it has been ingrained in anybody that's been in that room that they're going to have to block.
You just got to be good at it, too, on top of it, though. It's a skill.
No, there's no doubt.
You know what hurts?
It's not an easy skill to acquire either.
We'd like for McLean to have stuck around now, because he was good at that.
He was really good.
That would have fit very nicely.
I think he left for reasons other than, I think he wanted more catches. So he was always willing to block.
Sure.
It wasn't going to change anything for him. He's like, no, I'll block. Can I get some more catches? And I don't know that he was going to.
If it takes longer for this recovery, he might have been on the field. But that's the thing that the coaching staff has to continue to tell a lot of these guys across different position groups, that, look, you might not be getting the lion's share of targets, rushes, snaps just yet, but wait, there's a lot of dudes, a huge swath of guys that are going to be going to the NFL level next year. So just hang around a second, or you're a couple injuries away from getting the opportunity anyway.
We talk about the balance all the time, what these coaches are going to have to do with a loaded roster, and that soon there'll be the ones that are preyed upon for their players, just like they've preyed upon others up to this point, because they've had to obviously refurbish this roster with players that are plus players that can easily replace those that are returners. Now that's getting more and more difficult. They're always going to be good at it, I think, because they've established a culture of and analyzing the types of players that come in and fit in a locker room really well, also improve your level of play. But I think now that you have an excess number of those in the trenches, you probably have moving forward, again, another opportunity within the receiving core and running back room to see some folks defect.
So the question I would ask you then is, because you were there for the pajama days of this football camp so far, which you can run 7-on-7s and have a good idea of who's who. Who impresses you the most in that receiver room? And it doesn't have to be the first person. I mean, if you were ranking the top group of 3 or 5, because that's how it's going to play out, you're going to rotate 3 or 5 guys primarily, and then from there you go. Who stands out to you? I mean, Johnny's got to be in the conversation somewhere in that group, of course. But how would you rank it out at present before we get to, weeks on end of full contact?
Well, I think we've moved to a place where Johnny Wilson is your best receiver. I agree with that. I wouldn't say otherwise. I just want to see him get more consistent catching the football. And it's really specifically a certain type of catch. It's the simple catch. It's the easy catch. It's the first down that Jordan throws him on 3rd and 6, and ain't nobody around him because he did everything right, and it's the right play call, and Jordan read the defense properly, and he puts it on with nobody near him, and inexplicably he drops it. Those are killers in big games against good teams. You got to make those plays. We're able to make it up against the lesser tier teams, and Johnny did a great job of really rebounding nicely. You never really saw it shake his confidence. When he dropped passes, especially the easy passes where one might look inward and wonder, how do you drop that chain moving catch in a big situation at midfield and now we're punting? How do I drop that ball? He never really did that. He always got past it very quickly, and invariably he'd make a catch that you'd go, wow, that was a really difficult and important catch. It was potentially a game-changing catch. That was 3rd and 9, double covered, one hand got both feet down kind of catch. Shocking. That was, he picked that off the ground nearabouts. Those kinds of catches. So it will be interesting to see. So Johnny, to me, is still, despite having that one element of his game that's got to get better, he's your best receiver. And then from there, I think you have a bunch of candidates. I mean, I don't know that you have a solid number 2 that you say, this guy's better than everybody else. You got a lot of candidates, don't you think? I mean, Micah would have been, as you're saying. Williamson seems to be a guy that they're in love with. I mean, they really like him. They bring him up a ton. We saw that great game that he had against Boston College. The physical tools are there. If he takes it a big step, he could very well vault up into that, upper tier of this receiving core. I like Portier. I need him to be more consistent, but he's a big body like Malik McClain. He embraces blocking. If he can mature and take another big step forward, I think he can be a huge asset for you. I don't know what Akeem Williams is going to be this year. Body type-wise, he looks ready to play, but a lot of time freshmen are swimming. He's looked like he's swimming so far early on at camp, but that's not new. That's not abnormal.
I think there's a different level of football shape that you play at the next level too that's catching up to him.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That is totally normal.
Yeah. I don't see. Winston Wright's a guy that, let's see.
Yep.
Right? You can't not mention Winston Wright. He's eager to be out there. He has something to prove. He's excited to play. He's really well respected. Looks like he's got his speed back. He's cutting really well. He's the most mature in terms of playing time in the Power 5. Have you done it? Yeah, he's done it.
He looks stout physically as well. That's not a slender underneath guy like a Ja'Kai Douglas, who has his role as an over-the-top lid lifter gadget player for you. But not all slot receivers are created equal, and Winston looks a little bit more stout. I got to tell you, it's not about expectations for this season yet. But through 1 week, somebody who's just very impressive to me, he looks like he's got it, is Vandrevius Jacobs.
Yeah.
I've got to give Michael Langston full credit on this because we did so many shows leading up to signing day. He said, everybody's talking about Hakeem, and I get it. You should. But don't sleep on this other guy we brought in. Vandrevius Jacobs is impressive, and it translates. It just reminds me some of the breaks he makes and some of the speed coming out of a break of a young Rashad Green. I remember seeing that little separation, that little nuance of how to break off a route. And he looks polished, where Hakeem looks more raw at that part of the game.
So there are 3 candidates to really get you excited that you might say, all right, what is this guy going to be right here, right now with an opportunity? And the guys that can be something right here, right now to make up for an injury at the receiver position. And again, we don't know. Micah could start the year and be just fine. We don't know that. We do know that he went through hip surgery. We do know he's going to be out for an extended period of time. We don't know what the rehab will look like. Hopefully he's back in time for LSU. But Jaheim Bell is going to play a huge part at tight end. He's a sort of a mix of receiver, running back, and H-back. That's what he is. So he's going to get a lot of looks. But a guy that, again, how far can he come in this spring, in the fall, who has all the athleticism in the world and is the guy that I talk about all the time, but admit he's not ready, and maybe he will be, and I sure cross my fingers that he will be, is Deuce Spann. Deuce Spann is a better athlete than all of them. All of them. He better athlete than Johnny Wilson, better athlete than Micah Pittman, better athlete than all of them. So how quickly? I mean, he had all of last year. Early in the season, they used him quite a bit in the quick game. He had a drop on a deep ball early in the season. You're like, oh, man, that's a touchdown. But, okay, it's happened. He had the episode on the sideline where he and Mike had a come to Jesus conversation and handled it well. They went right back to him in that game, by the way, in an important moment, just to let him know we still believe in you, but you gotta handle these things better than you're handling.
You gotta tighten it up.
Tighten up. But he did. And he came into camp. Look, at the end of when we watched the workouts, I thought he looked great. And then when we get into practice, I thought he looked really good again in terms of energy, focus. He looks more polished. Still has ways to go, but he looked more polished.
He did a good job of developing just last fall.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning, the first impression we had, which was, needs work.
Needs a lot of work, but he's come a long way to where it's not.
With the hands looking more like a receiver's hands versus a dude who you just plug in at the position because he can run real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you, I guess the answer we just gave everybody out there about this question is we're not real sure, but we have candidates.
And you wouldn't in years past.
Didn't 2 years ago.
Punt returner is going to be a question too. Is that Winston's job? Because he was a kick returner for West Virginia, very good at it. Again, they've got a lot of good athletes that they can throw at the problem. It's a real difference maker. It's just like having an excellent center fielder in the major leagues. You just breathe easy when there's a ball driven out to left center. Oh, he's got it. I don't even have to look. That's a catch.
Vendravius Jackson, by the way. You brought him up?
Jacobs.
I said Jackson, sorry. You brought him up, and I love him too. Right off the bat, he stood out. But that's somebody that could answer your question in terms of punt returner. Could maybe, but he's a freshman.
He's tiny too. He's tiny.
175, yeah. I mean, he
relative to the room, which is kind of a nice thing. We used to say
when we bring up Darian Williamson, people forget he's 6'3", 200 plus pounds. He's somebody I think because of his age and his body type, I'm rooting for him. If somebody has to fill that role, I'm kind of rooting for him. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at ffbic.com.
This is Rusty Hunt with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me today at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problems that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
You ever get the feeling that the world is being held together with duct tape? Every day we're thrown some new meaningless drama in the fake news to distract us from the reality we're all about to face. Between the government trying to print their way out of debt, military conflicts, the disintegration of our most trusted institutions, and a looming food shortage, preparedness is no longer a choice. It's a necessity. You can trust My Patriot Supply. Our emergency food kits come packed with tasty meals, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one kit for each person in your family. Self-reliance is the only alternative to government food lines. Time is running out. Become ungovernable. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save on dozens of different emergency food kits while you can. These kits are in stock, ship fast, and arrive in unmarked boxes for your privacy. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com before the next crisis strikes. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
NCAA tournament gets underway with the first 4 in Dayton on Tuesday. Mississippi State laying 1.5 against the Pitt Panthers. 132 the total. 22-11. Pitt has dropped 3 of its last 4 games. In the other first four matchup Tuesday, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, a 4-point favorite over Southeast Missouri State, 151.5 the total. The winner will get number 1 seed Alabama in Birmingham. In the first four on Wednesday, Texas Southern laying 2 against Fairleigh Dickinson in a 16 matchup. And Arizona State's a 1.5 favorite over Nevada, 133.5 the total at the UD Arena in Dayton. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Hi, I'm Sean Parr. I host a nationally syndicated radio show, and if you're like me, you don't like to lose. And honestly, who can afford to lose 30% of your 401k or IRA again? This year, I'm all about protection. One way to protect my future, it's investing in real, tangible products. I'm talking about precious metals from the Oxford Gold Group. I mean, why invest in crypto or more stocks that you don't understand? I know. You can put your earnings into something real like gold and silver. And now is the time to call my friends at Oxford Gold Group and just hear what they have to say. The phone call, it's free. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver is a portfolio protection plan. And Oxford Gold has made it as easy as 1, 2, 3. One app, one call. You pick your precious metals. That's it. You now own real precious metals just like I do. Call Oxford Gold today and ask about the 1, 2, 3 protection plan. Call 833-899-GOLD. That's 833-899-GOLD. 833-899-4653.
Hey everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
This is Ken Wondergem, owner of Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, serving North Florida and South Georgia for over 20 years. And I'm happy to announce that things are finally back to normal at Gem Mazda. Our lot is loaded with brand new Mazdas for the first time in 2 years. So if you've been waiting for the price and selection of new cars to return to normal, the wait is over at Gem Mazda, where we've always provided our customers with the highest quality of service and care. You know Mazda's reputation for efficient, dependable, and affordable vehicles, but you simply must experience the luxurious new lineup of 2023 Mazdas in stock now at Gem Mazda of Tallahassee. Get adventurous and connect with nature in a brand new 23 Mazda CX-50 with all-wheel drive. But hurry in while the value of your trade is still high. At Gem Mazda, we take our slogan seriously. No games, no gimmicks, just a gem of a deal. Gem Mazda of Tallahassee, Capitol Circle Northwest, just up from West Tennessee Street, and always open at gemmazda.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that is good. That is good. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Welcome in to the Lone Show this week. And it's time to take some time for spring break. You're driving tonight, aren't you?
Right after the show, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. Well, the flights, here you go. I'm putting it on a T for you, buddy.
Mm.
The flights out of here.
They don't exist or they're exorbitant. Yes.
Yes, for two people, it would have been $1,750. $1,750 after taxes.
Just a cool $1,750 to fly to where? New York?
New York.
Okay.
I mean,
you should jog.
I've got points out of Atlanta for free. So I'm going to save.
I'm going to go with free.
I'm going to keep the $1,700 and fly out of Atlanta.
You sure?
I'll bite the bullet on the 4-hour drive each way.
Well, 4 hours if you're lucky.
At $200 a flight.
Yeah, you do it.
No problem.
Of course.
It's $850, $900 a flight.
Of course. I don't want to do it. You're not going to do it. I'm not going to go there. You're not going to get me on a day where I have embraced the Zen.
And for the record, this is back in January/December, way back.
Yeah, you didn't just book these last week. Yeah, you were trying to get it a while ago.
It never came down.
I did mean to mention, and I didn't earlier, and I'm sure somebody will call me on it, so let me do it really quickly. The FSU women's team, which did go 23-9 this year, 12-6 in the ACC, had to wait to learn their fate because obviously they got bounced very quickly in the ACC tournament. They had oddly consecutive losses at Clemson and at Wake, and that hurt their feelings a little bit because they did not get to host at the TLC-CC, and they ended up being dropped down to a 7 seed, told to take it on out to Iowa City. Little Iowa City loving. That is not what you do. We'll face Georgia, who's a 10 seed, this Friday at 1:30. If they get by Georgia, they'll get to face Iowa, which is really good. That's what you get. That's what we have. Hopefully we have a healthy Tania Latson because I think it was fairly evident to all. If she plays, Florida State's good. If she doesn't, they're not. That's the end of the conversation. That's it right there. She plays, Florida State's good. If she doesn't, they're not. Basketball's like that. In a weird way, that gives you a little bit of hope with men's basketball. It's like you feel helpless, hopeless, saddened. You're like, okay, well, one really good player could turn this around.
Yeah, let's pay two really good dudes.
Really good.
And
like over-the-top payments for Jordan-esque type dudes to save the program right now.
Cut the locker room cancers out of here, and, that's a large step in the right direction.
Yeah. That's all the basketball talk we're going to have on today's program. I do continue to be, well, at least as it pertains to Florida State, I do continue to be baffled by, the net rankings don't work. And right off the bat, you're like, okay, once again, what are we doing here with the Mountain West? This happened before. And by the way, they went over. After all the love they got a year ago, it's like, oh, wait, look, the net says they're very good. Yeah, but they're not.
Bo Hostler is the 17th ranked golfer in the world. That's what that would be like.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, they went 0-4 the last time they got this kind of love. They got this kind of love again. Let's see if they do. Every year, one of the conferences figures out how to dupe the system. They're like the straw that stirs the drink is that one non-conference win early in the year against somebody who goes on to have a great season, and then everybody has to play that team that beat that team. They're like, look at us, we're great. No, you suck. Your whole conference sucks always. You had one really good win early, and then everybody else benefited from that win. That ought not happen. That's a silly system.
I look forward to getting acquainted with who's actually good in college basketball for the first time this week when I put down wagers for the
time to bet.
State of New York, baby.
Time to bet.
It's all out in the open. No big deal.
The tournament's fun. And I will indeed bet. I will bet in a way that is uneducated as I have ever bet.
So you don't want me to make the phone call?
I do want the phone call. I do want the phone call. I want the number crunches. Send it my way just as a dear friend. Normally, I don't need it. I watch the games. I see the teams. I have a feeling about these people. But no, I don't have a feeling about any of these teams or these players or these, situations. I don't.
Blue Horseshoe loves Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson it is. Let's go, Fairleigh.
Let's see if the Fighting Patinos can beat UConn. I saw that they're playing in Albany. That's all I saw.
Iona is in, and the Fighting Patinos have worked their way from Iona to probably being the next coach at St. John's.
Yeah, which is perfect.
And it's so perfect.
I wonder what my dad's going to say about that.
Oh, no.
I can't wait
to say. Yeah, have that conversation with your pops that Patino, under the table, Billy Minardi Hall, all of it.
Rick under the table
Rick
Patino.
under the table Patino.
But he wasn't under the table. That was his manager.
I just like calling him Rick under the table because it's kind of fitting, the metaphor for everything. His whole coaching under the table, everything. He was on top of the table. His poor manager having to hear that 6-second romp.
Rick.
Remember that came out? There was the details that it was.
Yeah.
It was a short endeavor.
It's like Ohio State, Florida in the national championship game.
Grand opening, grand closing. Tackle your best player after a kickoff return. Twist his ankle all to hell. Call it a day, everybody.
Ted Gahn, Jr.
Yeah, you can't jump on somebody's back to celebrate. You're just asking to tear an ACL, twist an ankle.
Who was the Los Angeles Angel of Anaheim who did that in a walk-off home run scrum? Hurt himself for the year.
Oh, like jumped up and then he slipped and
then
tore his ACL.
Got mobbed,
Yeah,
and
got
it was
mobbed.
like, well, he's done for the year.
Yeah, he was
Hope
done.
you enjoyed that homer.
I forgot about that's right. Who was it? It was somebody good.
It was, yeah.
It's been many moons now. The years, they fly past, Tom, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, who was that and when did that happen? It's brutal. Okay, so we mentioned football, and we went back to it.
Andres Morales.
That's right.
2010.
And I think the hard part about that was he was on my fantasy team. It was really, we're off to a great start, and your season's over. Career is waning just after that injury.
That segment was on the AM dial, reacting to this.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the 1 year I had Brady in fantasy football was the year that he got his ankle hurt in like the second
really?
game. Yeah.
Oh, first game, Kansas City.
Yeah. We're like, okay, I finally take a quarterback early, and it's that one.
And they went 9-7 or 10-6 with Matt Castle.
Matt Castle, I think they went 11-5.
They missed the playoffs.
They missed the playoffs, but they went 11-5. Matt Castle was laughing all the way to the bank. Filling in.
He was paid to fail other places.
Yeah, several times over. Yeah, that's what happens. Did Jordan Travis, not having been at Friday's practice, did anything stand out about Jordan Travis? Because he's going to be the forgotten man, oddly enough. Think about that too, Tom. We spend a ton of time talking about the offensive and defensive line leading the way in our conversation, and for good reason. There are good players. There's a depth of good players. They're also really they're huge. They're giant guys. They catch your eye when you walk out there in a way that no group of offensive linemen have ever caught our eyes while covering this team. Certainly not in the Mike Norvell era, but even before that, obviously not in the Willie Taggart era, but you go all the way back to Jimbo. I don't know that I do know he did not have the depth of talent on the offensive line that this group has. May have had better front-end talent, top-line talent for the starting five, but after that, he wasn't nearly as deep. So every day we go to that camp, we can't help be impressed with those guys, and then we can't help be impressed, as we started the show with, the defensive line, Darrell Jackson, guys like that. But because Jordan Travis proved himself last year, and because that offensive line is in place, and because they went and got more weapons at tight end, and they have a deep receiving core, we're kind of just Jordan's going to be great, which I actually think is a more than fair assumption. But it doesn't mean we can ignore what kinds of practices he has.
From what I saw, again, a lot of the skill is on one half of the field, and it was in the IPF because of weather concerns, and then the trenches are in the other half. But I saw a fair amount of 11-on-11, and that was not a practice that looked like, all right, guys, let's go through it. Let's get introduced to pads, and then we'll take a break. That was to the wall, blank to the wall for 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding practice. So in the 11-on-11, the one thing I noted about Jordan was, the Tom Brady to the flats throws, where you go, hey, man.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Jordan's doing that a little bit more. I think he's testing out the gun, the arm strength. A couple of throws to Johnny in particular where you go, oh, man. It's like a 6-yard completion, but Johnny better be ready or else he's going to get hurt. So Jordan is letting the rifle loose a little bit. He looks like he's just processing everything so well. Even if there's a pressure, I think he gotten to once. Might have been Patrick Payton. I forget exactly who it was. But he just, whatever is being thrown at him, he understands what it is, and he understands where the ball needs to go. So you're right. It's something to marvel at, to go from the player that we watched every single rep, and judged.
Probably overanalyzed every single rep just because we were so nervous that he wasn't going to take the leap necessary.
In a binary fashion. He's good or he isn't on every rep. Like, it would just go up and down, to now you assume, and let's just see if he's added a couple new wrinkles to the game. He did let loose on at least one run as well. Wasn't like a 60-yarder or anything, but you're like, well, that's still there. He's still
Has
got
to be,
that.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So solid day. I am noticing a little bit more velocity on the throws early in camp.
I thought the same thing on the opening practice. The very first day when he was throwing the ball out to the flats, and the throws on the run. Well, he's stronger now. You know, we got to remember that. He spent a lot of time on his body. He knew he had to get bigger. He's gotten bigger in the lower half more than he has the upper half, which is fine. He's maintained flexibility up top. I know he's put on some weight overall. He's never going to be a big guy. We're never going to look at him and say he's Jalen Hurts. But he's gotten bigger, which is important to endure the hits that he takes when he does run. He's also learned how to be very, very effective without running. It's nice to know that's in there in the bigger games when he's going to have to take off and create some plays that, you know, when things break down.
I think the best throw of the day on Friday, this would not shock you, was made by Tate Rodemaker.
Well, he does it a lot.
Another one that we saw, we had a great angle in the far end zone to see the height and trajectory of the pass to get over a linebacker and underneath a safety. But even if you only saw the tape of it because they had the video monitors and you saw the end zone copy, that looks great there. But then also when you mix in the 3D element of being down there on the ground, it's just, he still has that ability. And then the guy who continues to jump out to me, again, not going to challenge for any playing time this year. I don't think. But Brock Glenn has come in with more tools that look good, as in college football ready. He'll have to work on the bulk of the game. But when he breaks the pocket and there's a rollout or
he's got that in the canon of things he can do already.
It's just his mind shuts off. And it's, what's the first thing we learn when we throw? Either in football or in baseball, just see the target, hit the target.
Yeah.
You could tell it's just natural to him. And it's really kind of impressive. He also looks to be very calm with the giant college football players rushing at him that he has not seen where he has just come from. I really like the base clay that they're going to be molding for the next year. Impressive player.
Well, I think one of the reasons he may be comfortable, and again, we're probably not going to be talking about him a lot for the very near future because he's a ways away from ever playing. And I know that's not why you're doing it, but when I talked to Tony Tokars, you know, he said at length, hey, this is a workout kid. I mean, this is a strong kid, works out with the lineman, comes in thick. So he's got a big arm to throw on the run. And sometimes against your body, you got to be a big, strong kid. And also probably not to be intimidated by the size of college athletes early on in your college career.
He doesn't look it yet.
Yeah,
and you're not live. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just more impressed with him than I was with Duffy through a few practices. We'll see. 2 weeks from now, I might say, this is why it's a different level. But so far, just okay. Nice job, guys. Good get.
You mean Duffy when he first got here a year ago?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you meant now. I'm like, damn.
No, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
No, but so Duffy had his best day, I think, so far was his first day of spring.
When we were there.
You guys did the stand-up reaction for it on the channel, and that was true. He had a good day. But I just, early on, he does not look like he's overwhelmed by the moment. Good on you, Brock Glenn.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Car accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiesdelivery.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. We take pride in supporting local, and with foodiesdelivery.com, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiesdelivery.com.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product stores moved to an all-new location. Mac & More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac & More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac & More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk radio show. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. where I provide clear answers to all your questions about Medicare.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
I will join my buddy Irash Fell, who's not here right now. Normally, when you hear me say it that way, he's about to come on, which he is, but in about 15 minutes or 10 minutes or so. Oh, 5 minutes. I thought it was 2:35. I thought we were going with.
We can make it 2:35.
Well, no, that's fine. 5 minutes is great. I just thought it was 2:35. I had it wrong. I'm miscalibrating. But Ira and I will join each other tonight. We will hang out together on the Monday Smash, and that'll be at 7 o'clock. So join us, and I imagine if you want, we'll do kind of what Tom and I did last week as well. Just ask a bunch of questions, because I'm going to defer to Ira big time since I was not at Friday's practice. So I will gladly bring him in and defer to Ira with those. And I've seen, I was at every other thing prior to that, but
he's got quite the picture to paint as well, because he was doing an awful lot over there between the baseball fields and football from Friday and Saturday. There was a lot going on simultaneously, as is the case a lot of times with spring and spring football. You got softball on the one hand. They're out in Oklahoma for now. They 1 out of 3 from Oklahoma State, which is a bit of a bummer. 3-2 they lost yesterday. Baseball hosting for 3, then over in front of the football facility, or Doak Campbell the current one, not the brand new one they're going to build, but Jermaine Johnson was honored.
Got his
Buster
brick.
Posey
Got his brick.
was honored. Jameis Winston's back with other players. Jalen Ramsey, as we see now, is a Miami Dolphin.
Yep.
Interesting times.
Jermaine, I love that it meant that much to Jermaine. It still blows me away. 1 year here, it meant the world to him.
So apparently he was, and you saw him on an elevator earlier in the week.
He's been here all week long. I saw him not once but twice, but the one time we did share an elevator together. Yeah.
So Coach Norvell had said he had been around the whole week, and he's at practice, and if somebody has a question and he can give some sage advice, he does so. And a technique or whatever, it's just, he does not stop. There are some players who come back, they stand on the sideline and they cheer on their teammates, and there are others who actively get involved with helping them. The pay it forward just seems to be endless for Jermaine Johnson in Florida State.
Well, if you consider that he was, I don't want to say buried on the depth chart at Georgia, but he was down the depth chart at Georgia. He was going to get limited play that next year. There were some, fair or not, question marks about who he was. I don't even mean character questions, just like how was he as a teammate? How hard a worker was he? Just because he had bounced around so many times. People didn't know, why. Anytime anybody bounces around, people wonder why that is. Do you have a problem? Was it a set of circumstances? What was the deal? So he had a lot to prove when he came to Florida State. And then he came to Florida State and he succeeded probably above and beyond what a lot of people thought he would. And he was an All-American, hence the brick. And he gets drafted in the first round. That's as much about what he did and the hard work he put in, certainly, but also about the job Florida State did. And he loves Florida State because of it.
A kick-ass moment from Friday just around the practice fields. Because, again, there's also a ton of high school kids in the area. They had the Legacy Weekend, so that was also going on. And we at Warchant have plenty of updates on the site from that. But just catching Jermaine, he was just eating on some food. He grabbed some from the cafeteria. He's munching, and somebody comes up to him and asks him a question about technique. He's like, okay. He puts his food down. He's like, all right, so here's what you do. Get your arm in this place. You go down there, and then you rip. And I'm like, wow. And then he gets his food, just continues eating. It's just looks so natural. He looks at home here, and he feels at home here. And that's what we hope is the standard moving forward is when dudes return here, it's like they never left.
Curious about Jermaine as a side note. He had an okay first year in the NFL. At the end of that season, he tweeted out something about how excited he was for next year. And I'm sure that had to do with kind of learning the game. He had a couple of moments, but for the most part, it was kind of a quiet year in New York. But he may end up being teammates with Aaron Rodgers. Like, this is going to be a crazy time. He may have gone to the Jets at just the right time.
And that would be, in a 30-year window, just the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, not since like Wayne Krebet and Keyshawn Johnson have they been.
Well, they had that little window before the butt fumble and all that where they
That's
did
true.
beat the Patriots in the playoffs and make the AFC Championship game.
Sanchez beat Tom Brady on the road, and he beat Peyton Manning on the road, both in the playoffs.
There was that weird year that everybody forgets about.
I think they lost in the AFC title game to Pittsburgh. I
can't remember, but yeah, there was a cup of coffee where they mattered.
Yeah,
like for just that amount of time. Yeah.
What was interesting is the Jets put out a tweet involving Jermaine Johnson, his video highlights, and saying looking forward to year 2. And I looked at the mentions and I wondered what I was going to see. I don't watch a ton of Jets football, and I wonder if it was going to be bust or how it's brutal. Mentions can be brutal when a player is put on a team feed, and all of them were, well, you guys please play him more. He's good. Like everybody.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
I guess in the limited snaps, he impressed the fan base up there, which is good.
He seems happy. He was very happy in the 2 seconds I saw him in the elevator. He seemed very happy from the video I witnessed over the weekend. He seems very happy and content in his life. He's worked really hard. I know that for a player who only played one season here, he is beloved by the vast majority of this fan base for all that he did to help usher into a place where we are now, where everybody's excited about Florida State football. And, he is another one of those guys in the transfer portal that you use when you're talking to the next group of kids that you're trying to bring in. Here's another example. Along with Jamie Robinson and Keir Thomas and all these other guys, you're able to do it. He is ready, and we shall do this now. Irashifel, Warchant.com. The aforementioned busy man over the weekend joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show. Hello, Ira.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. And I'll be having fun with you tonight at 7 o'clock on the Monday Smash. I look forward to it. We'll have a good time talking Florida State. I'm deferring to you both then and right now for all that you saw over the weekend that I did not. What stood out to you on Friday, full pad practice? I know I've read what you've written. I'm kind of curious. You've had some time to let that kind of marinate. Any other thoughts on what you saw there?
No, I don't think there's anything like astounding. It was good to see that what we thought. When we saw Daryl Jackson without pads, you saw him, and then when we saw him, at Miami and briefly when he was at Maryland before that, you knew there was a lot of potential there. And then you see him in person, the size blew all of us away. During the tour of duty and then last week. But when you actually see him put on pads and how hard he is to block and how hard he looks to be playing, that's a big deal. And and again, I think just across the board, the lines of scrimmage did not disappoint. I think what we were that was probably one of the biggest things we wanted to see this spring is these transfers that came in and how they looked on both lines of scrimmage, and they definitely looked impressive. And Jordan Travis again looked great throwing the ball, and yeah, man, there's through 3 practices, 1 in full pads, I don't think there's any reason to tap the brakes based on the excitement that we had coming into the spring.
We got the news that Micah Pittman had surgery, and we don't know the exact amount of time he will be out, upwards of 4 months, thereabouts. We'll see. Maybe he's back in time for LSU. He's a hard worker. He's a tough kid. So if that is an ingredient that helps you get back in time, then he'll be back. But we don't know who would be your lead candidate to take over that role, because what I talked about really quickly, Ira, in the first hour when discussing that surgery was I was less concerned about, and I don't mean this as a slight, I was less concerned about his talent and who could replace that talent, less concerned about the receptions and who would replace the receptions, and much more concerned about the toughness if he were to miss any time, because he was so tough, a great blocker, and sacrificed a lot last year and kind of set the tone for that segment group.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I, thinking back to at the end of the tour of duty when we interviewed the coaches, I think Tom was interviewing Ron Dugans about the receivers, and he was talking about Johnny Wilson's toughness and physicality as a blocker. And I think Ron Dugans said, I think a lot of that came from Micah Pittman. Like, he saw Micah doing it, said, well, if Micah could do it, I should be doing it. And that kind of spread throughout that room. But I think that's part of the fabric of that receiver group now. So I think that's going to continue. And it's not like Micah's going to be gone from the program. He will be back with them. And I think he'll be back at some point this season. I think they'll be able to replace, the ability. There's part of me, honestly, that sees a silver lining to it, because one thing I didn't really see out of Micah Pittman last year was the explosiveness. I thought he would be, based on who his dad is and who his brother was, I thought there would be another gear from him as a runner. And he was a tough kid and played well, but you never saw a lot of explosiveness. But, man, you could tell he dealt with that hip all year long. Every time we watched practice, I mean, how many times in practices did he have to be pulled out and kind of work with trainers? And you'd see him kind of on the side stretching and trying to kind of get his middle body just kind of loosen it up. And it never seemed to really happen. I think if this takes and he is as good as new, I think you may see a more explosive Micah Pittman. Now, I don't know when that'll be during the season, but they already have a really deep receiving core. And if he comes back and is better than what we saw last year, that could be a really positive thing.
What did you make of the ceremony with, obviously, Buster Posey? He's one of my favorite Seminoles of all time. I went back and watched video. Seemed like he was genuinely touched. And I guess if you want to just talk about the weekend that was with baseball, Florida State got what they needed, a series win. And I think the way they won with the pitching is important as well. I know they lost yesterday in a rain-shortened game, but your thoughts on that whole thing with the ceremony and then the winning 2 out of 3 as they open ACC play?
Yeah, all of Saturday was incredible. I mean, I thought that was Florida State hasn't always historically done a great job of ceremonies and presentations and things like that. But I thought they nailed it. I mean, I thought the Jermaine Johnson thing was really nice. I think that's a nice touch. I hope they start doing that now when they place those All-America bricks, at least for football, but maybe for all sports. Maybe have more formal ceremonies to celebrate that. So that was really nice. And you have Jameis come back, and Jermaine seems so gracious and happy to be honored that way. So I think that all was great. And then you go over to baseball and you get Buster Posey, who just not only, does he deserve to be honored, but the way he handled it, when he spoke to the media, but then when he also spoke to the crowd, you could tell he was really humbled by it all. But the coolest part of that whole thing was the fact that, Mike Martin Sr. was there with him, sitting there on the field, and the way Buster spoke about Mike Martin and just, gave him his flowers. And it was just a really cool moment. And Link Jarrett, when we talked to him about it, he was really kind of emotional about what that day meant. He wanted that day to be for Buster and for Mike Martin Sr. And it was a really nice day, beautiful weather. And then, like you said, they played well. The only drawback at all is, they did move Wyatt Crowell to a starter role, and he looked great, pitched 6 strong innings, 10 strikeouts, had a shutout going when he left. That's all wonderful. But, what we saw on Sunday, what happens if he's not available out of the pen, if your starter Carson Montgomery doesn't have it, and it can't go deep into the game, you don't have a lot of options. And so, I think it makes sense to move Crowell to a starting role to some degree. But if you also use Whitaker in another game, you really don't have a lot of other options. So you better win those first 2 games if you're not going to have him or Whitaker probably available in the third one.
I just think it's going to be a problem they're going to have all year long, right? I mean, I think there's just not going to have enough pitching to be deemed, a contender to win the national championship. But I mean, I'm not so sure that any of us went into the season thinking that was the ceiling for this team. It was can you win enough in the ACC to garner a home regional? Can you get out to Omaha? Wouldn't that be something? Who knows? Baseball's weird in the postseason. It's truncated. But they're not going to be a complete team because they don't have enough arms. Now, some guys might develop along the way that make you feel better about their chances, but you got to find a way to get more than 3 innings out of your starting pitchers. And if this is the best way to do it, then you're just trying to win series knowing that one of these games could end up being a shootout.
Yeah, and this week right coming up is going to be a really challenging week because you're kind of depleted most of your arms over the weekend, and then you've got another ACC series come up next weekend. Well, now here on Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going down to UCF to play 2 games, and you got to be real careful about who you use and how much you use them. I love Jamie Arnold. One thing that probably the biggest takeaway for me from that weekend was Jamie Arnold came in, made a quick appearance on Friday to get that game over with, and then he comes back on Saturday, and I thought gave them 2 really good innings, and they were trying to will him down the home stretch when he got in a little bit of trouble, got a little fatigued. And I saw some stuff out of that kid when it came to just his competitiveness. He's got some stuff to him, man. He's going to be fun to watch over these. And so now you got him in that role where he's a guy you might be able to pitch a couple times in a series and may really help you out. But he didn't finish the deal on Saturday, but he really competed, and I think he's only going to get better and better. So they've got some possible answers, but I think this week is going to be a good example of a tough week for that staff.
Talk to you tonight at 7, my brother. I look forward to it. Should be fun for all those listening right now. Tonight, Ira and I get together for the Monday Smash on Warchant TV. Jump on in there, ask all the questions you want. It's a short week. It's spring break week, and a lot of us are taking time off. But tonight, fire away at Ira and I. We look forward to talking to you guys. I'll talk to you then, buddy.
Sounds great, man.
All right, be good. Ira Schafel, Warchant.com. Go read everything there on Warchant.com. And join us tonight at 7 o'clock. Do want to thank Terry's Pool Service for supporting our JCS/Warchant charity golf tournament for a second consecutive year. Do appreciate that greatly. If you, by the way, are still trying to get that pool into shape as we get into the warmer months, nothing wrong with asking for a little help from Terry's Pool Service. Spring is just around the corner. It's actually here. Your family is expecting to see a backyard paradise, surely. With green water, yellow pollen, and a collection of who knows what in the corner, you're going to need the help. You're going to need some help, and you're going to need it fast. Terry's Pool Service is who you want to call. They'll come save your pool. Check them out at terryspools.net. That's terryspools.net. Or call 850-580-7334. That's 850-580-7334. Because you never know when you're going to need them. Terry's Pool Service.
Your local news now.
The City of Tallahassee's longtime human resources director said she was fired on Friday morning without notice or explanation. Ellen Blair, who served in the role for nearly 10 years, said she believes her termination was in retaliation for certain reports made to city officials. No comment or explanation had been provided on behalf of the city as of late Friday night. The move comes after recent controversy over the handling of an on-duty Tallahassee Police Department officer who, during a random drug test in June, tested positive for controlled substance for which he did not have a prescription. Police Chief Lawrence Norvell chose to reinstate the senior level officer officer after 2 tests of the same urine sample showed he had amphetamine in his system. The officer reportedly said he took his wife's Adderall medication by accident. Blair pushed back against the reinstatement, stating the city has a strict zero-tolerance policy for drug use. The city terminated 21 employees since 2020 because of the rule. Blair did not explicitly state if she believes her firing is linked to the controversy with the TPD officer. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 71. Winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 43 tonight, partly cloudy. Mainly clear skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 64. Ample sunshine expected Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 67. 72 Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 61.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, you know, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay.
You know?
Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
A couple of a little tidying up here real quick. Man, I will tell you this. I guess I can find a way to incorporate this just because we have an excellent partner in our friends at ISF. We mention ISF a lot because they're great partners on the program. They are typically certainly the lead sponsor for Thursday's show, but we want to make sure we get that in today because we're not going to be here Thursday. We are not going to be here Thursday.
Be watching some March Madness.
That's true. We talked about process innovation the last time we talked about ISF. They help agencies review major processes. That's a fun word to say that they use. They analyze the entire process from beginning to end, help them streamline, remove redundancies. Got to do that. You know where you got to do that? In your phone with the either contacts or your pictures. Redundancies for days. I've got like your name with 17 numbers from the time that I met you.
Yeah.
Or places you've worked, or like all your different connections.
727-487-3424. I missed that number. It just was a very pleasing phone number.
I can't say the number that I missed because I still use it for other reasons. But yeah.
1-900-11.
My favorite. What a sight.
That's my favorite part about the old Warchant. The original Warchant had a 1-900 number associated with it.
Yeah, and then it was time where it was called FSU Sports or something else, and it's been a lot of things.
Tom Block did the voiceovers.
Yeah.
And so what I always would tell him when, I used to produce Front Row Knowles, Tom, you need to tell people more often that you voiced 900 number
Which
information.
was cool. Yeah, the information. Yeah.
People are like, what? You did 900 number work?
My friends at ISF can remove those redundancies, save costs, free up time, focus on what's important. Processes should, obviously, coaching staff, what should that look like? We can kind of use that. What needs to be eliminated, streamlined, automated, et cetera, to allow them to better focus on what's important. The way that ISF did, for example, in the child care food programs, as they helped out the Florida Department of Health. I actually think they've done a lot of it. I mean, they really have. I don't know what else, if we were actually being serious about applying this process, the process innovation that ISF uses, I think they've done a very good job. I think if there's one area, Tom, where I might say they could be more efficient, would be, I think, at practice in some ways. There are times.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going to give you, hold on.
We aren't criticizing the practices that we get access to, sir. No, sir.
Well, I am. I'm going to be criticizing Jesse.
You hear that, Derek? You take his badge, not mine. You guys run one hell of a practice.
I think the one area of practice where we could see a little bit more efficiency and a little bit more of a streamlined approach is with special teams. Across the board, Tom.
You want to see more of it?
No. Far less of it. If we streamlined it, we could see far less of it. I think it's a clunky process with all that special teams. Let's streamline it, get it up out of here. Tired of it. Put it on a separate field. Let the real practice go on over here. Do all that nonsense over here. Also, when you're not running 700 reps of backing up to make sure you can cover a kick, 700 reps, taking up 40 minutes, you could then also streamline what happens with the kickers when they're not kicking, because they do a whole lot of standing around staring at the sun, trying to spinity do 10 yards, so they chuckle as they throw the ball back and forth to each other, doing a whole bunch of nothing. There you go. Let's streamline that. Let's make it more efficient. I don't even need them out there. How about you get the first 15 minutes and get the hell up out of here? We've already done it. The rest of us watch the rest of real football practice, and it's all good.
Here's something I can tell you that you would be happy about regarding Friday's practice.
Have they streamlined it? Did I miss it?
There wasn't a whole lot of special teams.
Damn right. There you go. There you go. See?
When there was, though, because we were in the IPF, which you don't like.
I know it's necessary, but I don't like being in the ISF. It's hot. It's stuffy. It's humid. It stinks.
You love being in the ISF. You just don't like being in the IPF.
IPF, right. Yeah.
I walked over to the offensive line to see some of the side drills that they were doing, which was fun because Alex Atkins called the tackles over, had some veterans work on drills. And then Lucas Simmons was, sponging. You could see it hovering over the instruction every word. You love to see that as a young kid is trying to get better. But here's the thing you would like even more. Travis Jay is getting an opportunity. He is getting an opportunity. Now, we will see as the weeks go on if that opportunity is extended and the chances grow more in number. But on Friday, he was given a long look, and maybe that is the precursor to them sorting out their issues at safety. Maybe Travis Jay could be one of the solutions. We'll see. Way too early to declare that, but you would have been proud of the reps that Travis Jay was getting on Friday.
Come on, Travis.
Forced the fumble, too. He was on the mission takeaway list.
Come on, Travis Jay. Selfishly, I want it for the production of the team and the quality of athlete we roll out there. He's a more than capable athlete. He's an elite athlete. He just hasn't been an elite football player. Not here. If they can get that out of him, if they can draw that out of him, Tom, that I'm not even kidding. That would be a huge win for this coaching staff, huge win for that secondary, an opportunity for a guy to make big plays. It's in there. We've seen it. We know it. He just hasn't achieved it yet. Let's hope it happens. Secondly, it would be a huge win for a young man who's been through a lot. And I won't get into all the details, but there's a guy that I think at the very least deserves the tip of the cap that he's still on this football team. He's still competing for valuable reps. He's still in a position to maybe do something with his career here at Florida State. And by virtue of that, who knows what kind of opportunities he'll get to play pro ball. But he has a chance to still realize that potential. I root for that. I don't root for people to fail. As blunt as I can be on this show in describing somebody's ability or lack thereof, or whether or not it's Tough Love Cameron making an appearance, trust me, if you have the work ethic and you've put in the time and you have real talent and it just hasn't happened for whatever reason, as long as you're not a bad guy, I'm rooting for you. I want to see a kid mature before my eyes. I want to see a kid get the most out of his ability. I want to see a kid bounce back from failure. I want to see all of that. Travis J would be a great story. Let's root for it. That's my, bi-weekly, come on, Travis J, you can do it rant. And it is selfish in that it serves Florida State football, and I want to see Florida State football be good, but it's also obviously would be great for him.
The fire of that bi-weekly thing was kindling. It was down to its last little bit. You don't need a Flintstone just yet, though.
No,
there's more firewood now after Friday. You can throw some more wood out there.
I'll tell you something else, Travis J. ISF solving the future. They're rooting for you as well. I don't know that to be true, but I'm betting they are. ISF is rooting for you, Travis J. It's a good thing. Come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Over 50 years ago, when Paul Nicholson founded Paul's Termite and Pest Control, he had one goal in mind: provide the best service possible to his neighbors so they felt like family. Your problem was his problem, so today it's our problem. Paul's service area is our home. It's where our kids go to school, where we shop, and where we get involved with community organizations. So if some out-of-town company knocks on your door and begins pressuring you to sign an agreement for termite or pest control, you can bet on a few things. Number one, you'll never see that person again. Number two, your technician is likely to change often. And number three, your money will not stay in North Florida. These companies are sending your money to home offices in Atlanta, Orlando, Salt Lake City, or even Great Britain. Paul's Termite and Pest Control knows local means something to you. The health of your Tallahassee home, family, and pets is our number one priority. For the elimination of termites and pests and a greener lawn too, call your local company with local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
By the way, we did not make those shirts. I wouldn't be against someday introducing those shirts to the public. It is funny. You made me laugh with it. I might even wear that shirt. I never wear my own shirts, but I would wear that shirt.
Yeah, I think
because I'm proud of myself.
I've got
what a moment.
As you should be. We should all be. And we all are, in fact.
Never forget.
There is no should be here. We are on this side of the glass. Very proud of you.
Yeah.
I've got some things that are probably higher on the priority list this week.
Maybe.
But
there's a lot of interest in those shirts.
Maybe picking Ira's brain on how he set up your Seminole Headlines shop, and maybe we can tweak a few things.
Do a few JCS things.
Yeah.
Have some fun with it.
Ocala 23 would be a big seller.
I think it would be for anybody that heard the story. And if they didn't, we'll play it ad nauseum.
Well, there'll be thousands of people between the YouTube and the podcast.
Think of all the people stuck in traffic
Mm-hmm.
by Ocala who are like, I was there. It'd be like Woodstock. People would say, like, I didn't see Jeff, but when he regaled us with that story, I was there. I know what that felt like.
Promo code I've been there for 10% off.
No, that patting yourself on the back like Jim Rome used to do. Yeah, I have to give myself all the credit in the world. I was simply fantastic. Way back when Jim Rome was the thing, he used to do the sticker on the mic.
Yep.
I could have done the sticker for myself for the Ocala thing. What did it say? What was the shirt? Post the shirt again, Director Matthew. You had it up there. If we do it.
My favorite Romeism. The Bills, they're frauds. They're not going to do anything. So I've got some thoughts on that. You just told me your thoughts.
Told me your thoughts. Always remember. Yeah. We're not going with never forget. We're doing always remember.
Well, we could have two additions. Also, the one thing I would take away the 20 and put an apostrophe, Ocala 23.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Speaking of streamlining.
Some people love strawberry letter 23. I love Ocala 23.
Simon, I don't always. God, we'd be here all day if I patted myself on the back for the outstanding things that are done on a daily basis by me. We'd never do a show. It'd just be me.
Ignore that music. We got 3 more minutes.
Yeah, there you go. But we get, maybe on the way out, we can have the outerwear in the shirt. That is, there you go.
Now
get on it. Little tub talk.
I don't know how you do that. I can fire up the tub talk, but I don't with a moving animation. That's a toughie.
Hey, shout out to, here we go, old school, since you brought up Rome. I'll do a shout out to, that's TRL, though, is what I'm thinking of.
That's Carson Daly.
Yeah. Shout out to the guy that I ran into at Hat Tricks. I think your name is Dave. I apologize if it's not.
That's a good guess if it isn't.
I think it's Dave. I was at Hat Tricks in Tampa on Saturday, and I was going to grab a beer, and Dave, I think his name is Dave, approached me and said that he enjoyed the show and liked Warchant, and I appreciate that, Dave. I hope it's Dave.
That was pre-puck drop?
Oh, hours before the puck dropped.
Right.
Yeah, I was having a pregame meal and a beverage, man, and then we walked on over to Amelie, where Adam Laws and crew, Dave in the box. I sat next to Tiki and Rondé, Barber, and Rondé dropped the puck to start the game in celebration of going to the Hall of Fame. So
nicely done, Tampa Bay Lightning. They never miss.
They did a great job. Yeah. They had me and Rondé together on such a momentous night. They don't miss, do they?
I told you the story about Bobby the Chief Taylor being at Hat Tricks after a game one night, and he has security personnel.
The Chief!
And he had a handler, and this lady was the most rude person in the world. I said, look, I understand. You have a lot of people who are overserved, want to say hi to the Chief. I know him.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like armbar, kind of like, no. Yeah. So I shouted my sister's name who worked with him for years.
And he turned and
I said, she says hi. He goes, oh, he turns around.
Comes walking over.
Get out of here. I said to the woman, would you please take our picture? And I handed her the phone.
That's well played. That's the flex right there.
That was a good Hat Tricks moment.
By the way, Rondé and I had a good gambling discussion after the third goal, which hit.
Hey, I said play
hit on the goal and a half.
I knew.
Lightning scored the go-ahead goal with 59 seconds to play, and then the goal that covered with 2 seconds to play on an empty net. And somebody fell to their knees. Not me, nobody in the box, but I laughed, and he overheard me and said, what are you laughing at? He goes, somebody just got, and he went, oh, that's right. And we laughed about it. It was good. It was good. Dave, okay, so Dave didn't show up in the chat. All right, we're good. I think we should say goodbye. That's it. That's all. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew, as always. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget tonight, 7 o'clock. It is the Monday Smash. With
golf tournament. 3 slots left.
3 slots. Sign up now. Just 3. We'll remind you on the Twitters and all that good stuff later on. Peace.